Hello, and welcome back to the channel. For centuries, humanity has pondered one of its greatest mysteries. What happens after we die? Is death the end, or is it merely a transition? While science and faith offer different perspectives, some stories challenge our understanding of life and death itself. These are tales of reincarnation, of memories that seem to defy logic, passed down through generations. Today, we delve into one of the most compelling and meticulously documented cases in modern history, a story that begins not in ancient texts, but in the innocent words of a 3-year-old child. This is the incredible account of Janet and the memories she carried from a life she couldn't possibly have lived. Or could she? Our story begins in a quiet, ordinary town with an ordinary family, but their lives would soon become anything but ordinary with the arrival of their daughter, Janet. From a very young age, Janet was different. She wasn't just imaginative, she was specific. She spoke of a place she called her other house, and of a mother and father who weren't the parents raising her. At first, her family dismissed it as childish fantasy, the kind of make-believe games that toddlers often play. But Janet's stories never changed. They grew more detailed, more consistent, and more unsettling. She described her other house with remarkable clarity, detailing the layout of the rooms, the furniture within them, and even the view from the windows. She spoke of brothers and sisters by name, people her family had never met. She would cry for her other mommy, insisting she wanted to go home. The conviction in her voice was chilling. These weren't just stories. To Janet, they were memories. The first truly undeniable sign that something profound was happening came when Janet was just 3. During a family trip, they drove through a town she had never visited. Suddenly, from the back seat, Janet's small voice piped up with excitement. "That's my school," she exclaimed, pointing to an old brick building. A little further down the road, she pointed again. "And that's my house. My other house." She became agitated, begging her parents to stop, to let her go see her other family. She described the house's porch, a swing that used to hang there, and a dog named Buster that would greet her. For her parents, this was the turning point. The details were too precise, her emotions too raw. It was no longer a game. It was a mystery that was unfolding right before their eyes. A mystery that suggested their little girl might have lived a whole other life before this one. As Janet's memories became more vivid, her family found themselves at a crossroads. They were loving parents, deeply concerned for their daughter's well-being. Did he suffer from a mental illness? Was this a fabricated story, albeit unintentionally? Friends and relatives offered their own theories. Some were skeptical, suggesting the child was simply repeating things she had overheard on television or from conversations. They warned her parents not to encourage what they saw as fanciful, potentially harmful delusions. Others were more open-minded, intrigued by the possibility that something extraordinary was at play. The family doctor was baffled, finding Janet to be a perfectly healthy, intelligent, and well-adjusted child, apart from these inexplicable memories that caused her such genuine distress. The family was torn between a desire to protect their daughter from ridicule and a growing curiosity to understand the truth behind her impossible claims. Their search for answers led them to the work of one man who dared to investigate these phenomena scientifically, Dr. Ian Stevenson, a respected psychiatrist and professor at the University of Virginia School of Medicine. Dr. Stevenson had dedicated his career to the methodical and rigorous investigation of cases suggestive of reincarnation. He wasn't a mystic or a spiritual guru. He was a scientist. Over several decades, he traveled the globe, documenting thousands of cases of children who, like Janet, reported memories of previous lives. His approach was meticulous. He would record the child's statements first, before any attempt was made to verify them. He interviewed dozens of witnesses, cross-referencing every detail. He searched for birthmarks or birth defects on the children that corresponded to wounds or injuries on the deceased person they claimed to be. Dr. Stevenson's work was controversial, but his methods were undeniably scientific. When he learned of Janet's case, he knew it warranted a closer look. He saw not an anomaly to be dismissed, but data to be collected, a puzzle to be solved. Dr. Stevenson and his team began their investigation by carefully documenting every single claim Janet made. The list was astonishing. She named the small town where she had lived, she named her former self, and provided the names of her parents, her siblings, and even some neighbors. She described her death in harrowing detail, recalling the specific type of accident and the injuries she sustained. She even remembered the name of the church where her funeral was held. Armed with this list of over 50 specific, verifiable details, Dr. Stevenson's team started their search. They scoured public records, birth certificates, death certificates, census data, and old newspaper articles. And then they found it. In a town miles away, they discovered the records of a young girl who had died several years before Janet was born. Her life, her family, and her tragic death matched Janet's descriptions with breathtaking accuracy. The moment of truth came when Dr. Stevenson arranged for Janet and her family to visit the town from her memories, along with the family of the deceased girl. The results were stunning and emotional. When they got there, Janet led the way, navigating the streets with an eerie familiarity. She correctly identified the house she claimed was hers. Inside, she pointed out changes that had been made since her time, like a remodeled kitchen. But the most powerful moment came when she was introduced to the family of the deceased girl. She ran to the woman she had called her other mommy and embraced her. She correctly identified her past life siblings from a group photograph, calling them by the nicknames only their family used. She then pointed to an old, faded picture on the wall. "That was me," she said, pointing to the little girl who had died years ago. She recounted shared private memories that only the family could have known, leaving everyone present in a state of shock and disbelief. Every detail, from the names of pets to the location of hidden toys, was correct. For the skeptics, it was an inexplicable event. For the families, it was a reunion that transcended the boundaries of life and death. So what does a case like Janet's truly mean? For Dr. Ian Stevenson, it was compelling evidence that consciousness may not be exclusively a product of the brain. His decades of research, culminating in thousands of pages of documented evidence, suggests that something memories, personality traits, even emotional trauma can persist after physical death. Critics argue for alternative explanations, such as cryptomnesia, where forgotten information is later mistaken for a new memory, or subtle cueing from parents. However, in cases like Janet's, where the two families had never met, and the details were so specific and obscure, these explanations seem to fall short. Stevenson himself never claimed to have definitively proven reincarnation. He remained a cautious scientist, presenting his findings as cases suggestive of reincarnation. He believed that these accounts, when taken together, form a body of evidence that challenges the purely materialistic view of the human mind. They invite us to consider the possibility that our existence is far more mysterious and magnificent than we can currently comprehend. The story of Janet is not just a ghost story. It is a meticulously documented human experience that forces us to ask profound questions about who we are, where we come from, and where we might be going. The answers may lie just beyond the veil of what we call a single lifetime. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more journeys into the mysteries of history and human experience.